is another episode of Self in Action TV show. And I am your beautiful and amazing, I'm your beautiful and lovely host, Engelic Everett. This is my amazing co-host, Mr. Jim Jowsey.
Hi.
We have the opportunity to sit and chat with our special guest, Mr. Banner.
Hello.
He is the Director of Advocacy in-person Center Practice. We are here to week about the different self-advocacy groups with People Inc. Thank you, Wick.
Thank you for having me.
You are you are very unique, so we have to have you. So tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Rick Banner, as you said. I've worked for People Incorporated for close to 18 years. I've been in the field of helping people with, I hate using the word special needs, but people with developmental needs since 1981. So it's been about 40 years that I've done this type of work. Yeah, lived in Michigan for the first part of my life and worked in Michigan. Moved here to Buffalo in 2003. Started working right away with People Incorporated. Or People Inc. rather. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting that we're not branded Incorporated. We're branded at Inc. So I get corrected on that.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
Thanks.
I just love hearing you when you say that.
All right.
You have to correct yourself.
We all have to correct ourselves occasionally.
Yes. So how long have you been involved in human pursuit?
So I started with what was called Beekman Training Center, which was part of the school district that I went to school in. And I started working with a classroom there in it was between 1980 and 1981. And what I did was I was an out-of-aid. So I got to leave high school and go to the training center and work for a half a day with kids with different developmental disabilities. So that's where I started.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. Okay. How long have you been involved in self-advocacy specific?
Well, in self-advocacy specifically, I was part of a People First group back in the late 80s, so probably around 1988. I was part of a People First advocacy group in Michigan. So that was my first experience with advocacy. And then I've had the opportunity to be part of different self-advocacy events and opportunities from that point on. So 1988.
Whoa, that's a lot of years. Okay.
It is. It's a lot of years.
Yes. I know you are the Advocacy Department for People Inc. What does the Advocacy Department do?
Well, that's a really good and we do a lot of different things. We we have people sitting on committees. We help support and mentor people with disabilities in speaking out for themselves and speaking up for themselves. We have input as far as both regional and state, actually national initiatives when it comes to self-advocacy. We will sometimes go in and help someone advocate for what they want when they're in one of our certified settings or when they're living out into the community. We provide self-advocacy groups for people that want to get together and learn advocacy skills. We participate with the community in different ongoing opportunities. One of the more unique things this year, we're participating in Peace Prints, which is a not-for-profit organization that is offering a book club for people to be part of from different sectors of the community. And we were invited to host for the December meeting. So we're going to introduce a book for the club that has to talk about the Paralympics and the inclusion of athletes. So that's just one of a lot of different things we do. We participate in Awareness Day. We participate with Spread the Word to end or Spread the Word inclusion. We participate in just fundraising efforts, maybe for People Incorporated. We're ambassadors to the agency, so we may past the pandemic be able to do more interaction with the community again. We also provide Zoom meetings for people to connect, and we've done that during COVID since March 16th of 2020. And a big thing we did was we continue to offer 2 opportunities a day for people to come and get COVID-19 information, also build friendships, and be able to share information. So that's something that's been on. We served 13,000 people over the last year with that effort. We also have provided, I believe the count was to 800 meeting opportunities over the last year just by Zoom alone. And some of our advocacy groups have been meeting over Zoom since May of 2020. Some are still paused because it's difficult to meet or because people are struggling with the technology. We do have several groups that are still meeting, and we continue to meet, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to be able to meet in person again in the next few months. But we'll also provide the opportunity through Zoom as even when we're out of the pandemic, so that people have maybe a hard time coming to a meeting because of transportation or because they don't have the staffing, they'll still be able to participate. So we'll be doing that ongoing forward.
That's good. That's good to know. Okay. So, what is a self-advocacy group?
Well, it's a group of people that care and they decide on what they want to accomplish, what the mission of the group is. So they decide, this is what we want to push. Some groups focus on community service, and some groups focus on political advocacy. Other groups focus on friendships and just being able to, when they're interacting with maybe a family member or with staff.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Can only people with disabilities join?
Well, that's an interesting question. And my feeling is one is welcome. I think that as long as the people that have a disability are open to people that do not have disabilities coming into then that's okay. But it's up to the people in the group. I personally am under the philosophy that everyone is welcome, and I like in a group that is inclusive to everyone, because then it just promotes that community feel. But you know we don't have people that currently come to our advocacy groups that don't have a disability. But should someone want to attend, they're welcome to.
Okay. How many advocacy groups does People Inc. currently sponsor?
Uh, well, that's it's somewhere. I think at last count it was around 9. Um, we
Oh,
have one group in Rochester. We have 4 groups in the Buffalo area. Some that are on pause right now because of COVID-19. Groups that are actively meeting would include our group that is for people that live on their own. Also, United Voices for Change is meeting monthly. Brothers and Sisters of Advocacy from Rochester meeting. We also have Prideability that is meeting monthly. So
Oh,
those are that are meeting. Some that are on pause were ones that were more based at a specific location, like our Southeast Work slash 181 Lincoln group. That group is on pause right now. Also, the the media group, I think that that's still on pause. That I know that some of the folks that were in that group are doing things, but I don't think that group is meet now at the Arts Experience. Also, our core advocacy group is on pause. That is the group that reviews policy and for People Incorporated. So that group was meeting at the Walden Galleria. So that's on pause. Um, so kind of half and half. Half of our groups are on pause, and half are meeting using Zoom. Our attendance is down because technology still is a barrier, folks. So that the groups are not as big or as active as they have been when they were in person.
okay. Well, let's talk about some of the different group people that people ain't sponsor.
Sure,
Like, what are the focuses of some of these groups?
sure. Okay, so moving on up, the focus of that group is for people that live on their own, and it was originally started for people that were moving out of a certified setting and into their own apartment for time. And what the goal of that group is for people to get ideas from each other, things that maybe they've figured out, or how to stretch their butt to deal with a difficult neighbor. So those are some of the ways that, or some of the issues that uh, might come up during that meeting. It is an hour-long meeting right now from 4:30 to 5:30 on the second Tuesday of the month. Uh, we also have on the Wednesday of the month, the underground, which I haven't mentioned. The underground is something that's relatively new, and that is for people of color to come together and talk about social justice. That's run by people of color for people of color. Um,
Oh,
that meets from 5:30 to 6:30 on the second Wednesday of the month. And then we have on the third Tuesday of the month is the United Voices for Change. And that group is focused on doing a couple of community service projects a year, as well as they really wanted to focus on friendships and just their self-advocacy skills. So they're meeting on Zoom from 4:30 to 5:30 on the third Tuesday of the month. The third day of the month is Brothers and Sisters of Advocacy that meet from 5:30 to 7 o'clock on Zoom. And that is our Rochester-based group, though now they have just as diverse from Buffalo as they do in Rochester. So that group is focused on training other people on how to work people. Just so they look to train other providers, other self-advocates on how to self-manage. So that's where their focus is. And then
oh, okay.
uh, let's see here, on the fourth Tuesday of the month from 6:30 is Prideability of Western New York. And that's a group for people that are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, aromantic, asexual, pansexual, two-spirit. I think I hit all of them. But that is a group.
Yes,
that group meets for an hour, and they talk about the issues of being LGBTQ and having a developmental disability, how to interact more with the gay community, how to be more involved. They also, there's an educational component. There's question involved surrounding being LGBTQ, and that's been a very successful group. That was one of only two groups that were in existence in the state of New York. Now there are 6, so that's, there's quite a few groups. That isn't. There's also an ongoing educational component to that, where we've formed a statewide coalition. It's on the third Tuesday of the month from 7 to 8 o'clock at night, and that is different chapters of Pride Ability all across the state of New York, and very successful. So that's that advocacy group, and I think that's all of the active advocacy groups that we have going on right now. Hoping within the next year to start up all of the other groups again and get people back on track. There is a push for medical advocacy and more community involvement. So we may have a group pop up that will be focused specifically on the legislator and doing more action politically. So that's something kind of in the works, though we're trying to integrate that in all of the advocacy groups at this point.
That's very well. As you mentioned about the underground, I actually was talking to the person in charge of that, Chanel,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually did tell me about that, because I was actually at one time thinking about joining that group. So
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah, and like you mentioned about Prideability, I was actually thinking about reaching out to them to kind of interview them. So because I really do support that
Yeah,
community.
absolutely. What we could
Yeah.
do, Angelique, is if you'd like more of a statewide presence, it could help you invite some people from all over the state of New York that are involved with Pride Ability from different regions, if you'd like to do something like that.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
like that. Yes, Ricky.
I'd be
Yes.
happy to help you with that.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Is there a group that I can just hang and chill with new friends?
Yeah, I think all of our Zoom rooms right now, our Zoom groups are kind of have that feel. But there's no pressure in any of our groups. If you come to a meeting and you just want to hang out with some friends and drink a bottle of pop and just that's completely fine. And a lot of people find friends at advocacy meetings, and then they hang out with each other after the meeting or maybe at another time.
Oh,
So we encourage relationship building, we encourage friendships, and people find it as a way to kind of combat the loneliness and the social isolation. So absolutely.
and what is the oldest group?
The oldest group that we have would be the United Voices for Change group. And I would say that has a 20 plus year group, though the brothers and sisters of advocacy in Rochester, they're probably just almost as old. Though People Inc. just recently started sponsoring the brothers and sisters of advocacy. But as far as People Inc.'s oldest group, that would be United Voices for Change, and that was started in the late 90s.
Oh, actually, I remember that group because me and Shania actually used to be a part of that
Mm-hmm.
group.
Yeah, they've had
So
several different advisors over the year. Knew some Mike Gettings. Those are a couple of older folks from the past. I think Mike Gettings might have started it, and then Eric took it over for a while, and then I did. So, and I've been part of that group for about 15 years.
Whoa. Okay. What is the newest
The
group?
newest group would be the Underground, and they started last summer.
Well, I'm gonna get in touch with Chanel again because like I told you, I did want to be a part of that group. She did reach out to
Yeah,
me, so
she'd love it, and she's an
okay.
amazing advocate and an amazing advisor. We were lucky enough to be able to hire Chanel. She was an AmeriCorps member that was part of the advocacy team for a couple of years, and we were able to provide a paid opportunity for her to join the team in April of this year. So we're very fortunate to have her.
That's good for her. I interviewed her about that, so she actually told me
Yeah,
about
she's
that.
heck of a
Really good
person.
for her. People Inc. is lucky to have her.
Absolutely.
Say about that. Okay. What we were talking about. How would someone go finding a group that fits with them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'm here to say too that you really shop around with the groups. Right now, there aren't a lot of groups meeting because of the pandemic. But once groups start to meet again, this is probably weird to hear coming from me, but there are more groups out there than just People Incorporated. And you need to visit some of the groups and get a vibe of the group and the people that are part of that group, and really decide on where you connect. Community Services for Everyone has a really good group. Spire has started a really good group.
Ooh.
Their Sage is a wonderful group. So that we're fortunate to have so many opportunities for self-advocates to become involved in Western New York. If you want to get involved with a People Incorporated self-advocacy group, out to myself or somebody on the advocacy team, maybe checking out our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page for self-advocacy. Um, there's a few opportunities. It's pretty easy if you belong to People Incorporated to find me and someone from our team. But we're multi-agency focused. So what that means is we welcome people in our advocate groups from any agency. Or even if someone doesn't belong to an agency, but they just maybe live at home with their mom and dad or somebody, the requirement we ask is that someone be 18 years or older to participate in our group. But we're welcoming to everyone. There's a place
Okay.
for everybody.
Where can we go to find out about all these different groups?
Well, I think we need to do a better job posting more on Facebook, because right now what we're posting is a lot of things about the pandemic and also some political advocacy. So that kind of the focus right now with our Facebook page, but we really should be highlighting our pages more on Facebook. So that would be a place to ask questions, because when somebody asks a question on Facebook, then we're able to respond. Also, I'm reachable to ask a question. What I would say is you can always talk with your case coordinator, and they usually have a good way of getting a hold of myself. Then I can reach out and help, tell someone what their options are and what they might want to check out, or maybe ones that maybe don't feel like it might be a good fit. So, like for instance, someone may not be comfortable with someone who is LGBTQ. So they probably join Prideability.
No.
And the only other, restriction we really have is we are not currently letting people that aren't of color join the ground. That is a
I read
safe
about that.
space just for people of color.
Yes.
I don't even go into it. Chanel just kind of keeps me updated as what's going on with that group. So because we really want people to feel safe and honor that safe space.
Well, it's a good thing I asked that question. It's a good thing you mentioned Facebook. What if people, mm, what if people don't even have Facebook?
Yeah, right now we don't site. So
Okay.
people, the only other thing that we were doing before the pandemic was we had like a little kind of newsletter, and
Mm-hmm.
a mailing. We were doing mailers, but since the pandemic, we don't have the facilities to be able to do that right now. So post-pandemic, we'll start doing some more marketing again and letting people know what the opportunities are. But for now, really, Facebook and my phone number are the two best way to find out anything as far as joining an advocacy group.
Okay. Um. Well, before I even go into talking about these other questions, I know you are the director of the Advocacy Department, but I know that you are involved in the self advocacy groups. I know you also are involved in different committee meetings as well too. So, are there any advocates that are on these different committee meetings that you are involved
Yeah,
in?
that's a really good question. And
Thank you.
yes,
It just popped in my head.
look at you. People Inc. Is very inclusive and wants people abilities to sit on all of their committees. Right now, we're struggling to find people that are willing to commit to that because a lot of our committees are being done or over the phone. Excuse me. As we move away from, as we move towards meeting in person again, I think that we'll have a better mechanism for people to be able to join those committees again. We have a diversity committee that does have people with disabilities on. We have a rights committee that has people with disabilities. We have CQL, which is the Council for Quality and Leadership, that also have people with disabilities on it. Have internal review committees that have people with disabilities as part of it. Um, I have to think about other ones. We did have someone sitting on the fire department, or not fire department, the fire safety committee. We had a few others. Um, and everybody, what we're working on, what I'm working currently on is creating an opportunity for mentors and for people to feel more comfortable sitting on a committee and having the right support that they need to be successful, so that they're
Mm,
not just sitting on a committee to say they're on a committee, that they're on the committee and actually participating to the full extent of the committee. So that takes some training on the part of the committee itself and the committee code, so that people feel involved, because we want people to do more than just sit on a committee and just kind of look at everybody. We want people to really be engaged. So that's something that we really are striving to do more of.
I agree about that because I remember, and you actually named a couple of committees I'm actually on, which is the Rights Committee and the CQL Committee, which we do actually do virtually. So, and the only reason I mentioned that was because advocates do have a voice that actually need to be heard. So,
Definitely, there's a place at the table for our self advocates to give direction to the agency so that we are in sync with what the people's needs and wants are. It can't be run without the voices of the self advocates.
and like I said, when you said mentorship, I know I did come up with that idea about having a peer mentorship. So with self direction, so I'm gonna make sure that we actually get that to go. because that would kind of be. I know a couple of peers that I know that would love to be a mentor. So
Awesome.
yes,
I, I,
probably
Angelique, I did forget to mention that one other
yes.
thing our advocacy department does is we also have a contract with the Genesee County BOCES program where we go in and we're doing self-advocacy classes for teenagers in Genesee County. So we're doing virtually right now, but
Oh,
we're educating. We do a 4-part class uh, that averages 45 minutes a session of 45, or we have 4 sessions um, for each class, and that's been really successful too. What we're doing is we're starts out early on, starting with some language about self-advocacy and understanding what some of the words mean and how they can start to speak up safely. So I just thought I'd mention that too.
that sounds
It is, it's
interesting.
cool.
Okay, I might decide to get into that because that sounds really interesting.
I find that they love my
Oh,
corny jokes.
oh,
They
they
love
do.
them.
So, how would someone okay, how would someone go in creating a group with a focus that doesn't already exist or doesn't serve their home area?
Okay, so am I understanding right? How would someone create a group? Okay,
Yes.
so creating, I think that's an awesome idea. There's always room for other groups. And what I would think someone could do is talk first with, if they have an idea for a group and it doesn't exist anywhere else, so they could talk with either the peer that they work with the most or with self-advocacy of New York State. And they can either talk with Sophia or talk with some agency, an agency self-advocacy advisor, and start to pull it together, start to find other people that might share the vision or share those same ideas. So finding someone and then, creating a space to meet. I know that our agency is on to supporting other self-advocacy initiatives. Other agencies, I'm sure, would love to have opportunities to do that as well. Uh, SANUS is, and that's the self-advocacy in New York State. They have a lot of resources for new groups to start, and they actually work with you. They'll attend your meetings with you to start people off, and they'll help you develop bylaws, which are just common rule that a group might follow in order to give it some structure. They'll help you, figure out what could officers look like, when's the best time to meet, to develop a mission. But also advisors with experience would also be able to help in those areas too. But uh, Fern in the Rochester area and Sophia Robert from this area, both of them are accessible and willing to help.
That's good. And I just had to ask that
Yeah,
question.
no,
Yes.
that's a great question.
Oh,
A
thank you.
lot of people out there that want to start their own group. The big, if I could give one piece of advice, is don't get frustrated if it's really small to start with. Sometimes groups only have 3 members for the first few months. Sometimes it takes a while for it to catch on.
Well, they always say start from the bottom and then go up.
Mhm.
So I agree about that. That's that's just like a business. You gotta start up. You gotta start from the bottom and go on up.
Kind of with every.
Yes. Uh, why do you feel that these groups are important to those who belong in the self advocacy in general?
I think they're important because people want to, people need, they need relationships. They need to be part of something bigger than themselves. Uh, I think that when you feel like your voice is being heard, there's a level of confidence that is built. There is a level of just feeling like you belong. And I think that's where, you know, one of the things that we're struggling with now is social isolation. People are in their apartments, or they're isolated from other people, they're together with friends. And so for some folks, a self-advocacy group is the only time they get together with other people. So they play a really role. I know that with the Zoom groups that we've been doing over the last year, when someone doesn't show up for a few groups, people start to get worried. Well, where is so and so? What's going on? Has someone talked with them? And that's when you know you really belong, is when you're missed. So, you know, to have that, to have someone call you and check on you and say, hey, just calling to see if everything's okay, really makes somebody feel good. And so I just think that level of belonging. So a self-advocacy group is important because there are things about the world you want to change. There are things that just maybe don't feel right, or you think you can offer a better idea or a better vision. And self-advocacy groups give action to those visions, you know, to talk to someone and say, how about doing it this way? You know, from my perspective, maybe it would go easier if you did this. Those kind of questions are really important for CC groups, because you you can change the world, and self-advocacy groups do change the world, but you can't just have the vision, you also have to have action behind it.
I agree about that. Yes. That's the reason why we started that Tree Advocacy group. Cause we wanted to do something with that. So it became a podcast, and all of a sudden it became a multimedia group
Right.
for anybody that want to do media. So now my amazing co-host might have questions for you.
Okay.
Actually, I think you did an incredible job. I wouldn't honestly. There's really nothing else. I can't add anything. It was wonderful, and Rick, those final words were just perfect.
Awesome. Oh, you guys were my warm-up for CQL next. So
What? Okay. Oh, good.
so no, I'm really glad that you asked me to be part of, and you know, any support that I can give you, you know, or connect you with other people to, you know, ask these questions, just don't hesitate to ask.
Okay.
Actually, I
This
think I did
has
want to
been
add
a new.
one quick thing.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
Oh
know
no,
that
I'm listening.
the People Inc. self-advocacy groups, as well as other self-advocacy groups in the area, you can find information about them on when they meet, and sometimes there's contact information at the website that we do, sainaction.com.
Right. I forgot, you know, it's been a while since I've gone to that page, but you're right. Thanks for adding that. I completely forgot about that page. And what I love about that page is it isn't just People Inc.'s groups, it's all the groups in the area. And I'm really a big supporter of shopping for your group, you know, just like you would, you know, going to the grocery store. Not every grocery store is going to have what you need, and not every agency is going to have what you need. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but
Well, you know,
you
it's
could always edit that piece out. I don't want to upset Rhonda.
Oh no, we don't want to do
Mm-mm,
that.
mm-mm. Hey, folks. Are we all set?
All right. This has been another episode of Self-Advocacy in Action TV show. And I'm your host, Engelic Everett. This is my co-host, Mr. Jim Jowsey.
Hello.
And we both want to thank Mr. Rick Banner for coming out of his busy schedule for us to interview him. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you so much for having me.
And now, don't forget to use Essay in Action to like us on Facebook, follow on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.